Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Fittingly Furnished podcast. My name is Amanda.
And I am Amanda's mom, Vanessa. So, how are you doing today on this freezing cold day?
Oh my gosh, honestly, I'm not so mad that there's at least snow on the ground to go with the freezing cold, but as I'm sure you can hear in my voice, I'm a little under the weather with all of this, but at least there's some snow to match the cold. But I'm sure Dugan, your dog, is loving the cold, where my little baby boy princess, Maddox, is not loving the cold.
Well, Dugan, our lab, he loves the cold, he loves the heat, he loves the
Yep.
snow, he doesn't mind the rain, but your intern,
So
he's a little bit more princessy.
he definitely has the princess attitude of it's too cold, I'm not going outside, I don't want my paws on the ground. He tried to jump into my arms the other day. I'm like, boy, you are 95 pounds. I cannot carry you. I'm sorry. So it's a rough one out there.
You know, yesterday Dugan and I went for a walk and it was 5 degrees, felt like 10 below. We walked 2 miles because he just kept on trucking.
And then I have my guy who it was 5 degrees, felt like negative 20, right? And he's like, we're going inside now. Thank you. We're done.
Well, at least I was able to get my steps in, so that was good.
Yes, that is very true.
All right, so here today we are talking about some basics, and we're going to talk about the list, and we're calling it the Living Room Furniture Edition.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so I'll jump in and want to talk about some sofa basics here. The sofa really is likely to be your most expensive purchase, so you really do want to make a good informed decision. One thing you really need to determine about your space is what kind of sofa is going to work for you. Can you do a sectional, can you do a sofa, or a chaise going to work? And that being said, just for a frame of reference, some common sizes are an 86-inch sofa, a 110-inch sofa with chaise, and a sectional can typically be like 120 inches by 120 inches.
So you also then have some different seat and back cushion options. So you've got your bench seat, which I personally am a really big fan of. I don't love the 2-seat or the 3-seat cushion options. I think a bench seat where it's just one long cushion is the way to go. I am very, very partial to that, but I know that's not for everyone. I know a lot of people love to have 2 different seats or 3 different seat cushions all the way across. I know that is really comfortable for lounging. It really has the separate cushions, offers some flexibility for rotating. That is one downside of the bench seat, because then you can't really flip the cushion or just kind of move them around. You're stuck with the bench seat, but once again, I'm very partial. Color is very important. The sofa is the foundation of the room. It sets the tone for all of the furnishings in your space. Pattern can be very fun, but you might be better off just choosing a solid piece for your sofa just for versatility.
Absolutely. And one thing I should say too, because I think you found with your bench seat that when you're having, it's one thing for yourself for lounging, but when you have people over, sometimes it's kind of awkward to sit on like the 3 cushion or the 2 cushion. That one bench seat maybe feels like it might be a little bit more forgiving for multiple people sitting on it. Like if you had a 3-seat cushion, 3 cushion, and you wanted 4 people to sit on it, just kind of thinking about where the cushions land and where the tushies land, it might be a little bit more uncomfortable.
Totally.
Yeah. So another thing we want to talk about certainly are accent chairs. And the style is really going to depend on the tone of your space. And while there really are an endless number of styles, some are so super outdated that we are not really big fans of all of them. So we thought we would just share our favorite styles today.
Armchairs are meant to be comfortable. They really should be with arms on them, hence name an armchair. And it's really important that they have backs with an upholstered seat. So no one wants to be sitting on something that's not comfortable. Arms with an upholstered arm is also very helpful. It's really uncomfortable when you don't have something that has a little cushion to it. Even though wood and metal can be very in right now, wood is okay, but having things that have some nice cushion is always great. Some details with the wood or the metal really can enhance your space too.
I think so too. And what I like about an armchair really is if you're going to have one place to sit, like if you're in an apartment, you really probably have like one living room. In a single family home, you might have a family room and a formal living room. A formal living room certainly can, you can take into account some like pretty chairs that don't have arms, but most people are looking for something that is going to be comfortable, and the armchair certainly fits that, just because there is a place to really get comfortable. And then that being said, I think a barrel chair is another terrific option because it does have armrests. The barrel chair is an upholstered accent chair, and it has a rounded back, and the back kind of curves right into the armrest, and it's called a barrel chair because it kind of looks like a half a barrel. It's a very cozy and comfy option, and one of our favorite ways to use a barrel chair, if you can, is with a swivel base. I love the swivel because it gives some optionality. If you're sitting watching TV, or maybe you don't have the room to arrange your living room where all of the furniture pieces maybe can view the television, but if you have a swivel chair and you have company over and you do want to watch a show, then you certainly can swivel that chair to make it a little bit more accommodating for the room.
I also think the swivel is great for even just conversation. I have a swivel chair in my living room, and it's great for moving and swiveling towards the sofa so you can have just extra conversation.
That's very nice.
A wingback chair is another great option. It's very classic. It's a high-backed armchair defined by that distinctive wing look, and it extends from the backrest to the armrest, and it's more traditional, and it's a little old and outdated, but we do like how there's such a more modern take on a classic style.
Yeah, the wingback chair, I always think about sitting around a fireplace, and it's really, very cozy and kind of library looking. And I do love the more modern looks where they're not quite as heavy, they're not quite as winged, but it still has that look of kind of enveloping you, kind of in a warm hug, but without that like really old, stuffy, outdated, traditional look.
And then an area rug really anchors the furniture and defines that space, really delineates this room, especially when you have more of an open concept. If you're in a studio apartment, or if you are in more of that open concept apartment living, or in a home that has that open concept floor plan. So the rug should be large enough to allow the front feet of the furniture to sit on it at the very, very least. There are so many different materials and patterns that you can choose from when selecting an area rug. So depending on your goals, an area rug can be the focal point or a supporting player in your space. There's different standard sizes. There's a 5x7, an 8x10, or a 9x12.
So another thing we want to talk about, just as essential to the space, is a cocktail table. And if you have to choose between calling it a coffee table and a cocktail table, I'm going to pick cocktails every time. But whether you call it a coffee table or a cocktail table, it is an important piece in the living room. It is so super functional. It is a place for beverages. It's a place for collections. It's a place for all your remote controls, and if you're using your laptop or you're playing games, crafts, meals, decorative items. So it really is a very important piece, and not all cocktail tables are created equally, so it is important to select the right size and shape. Just a typical guideline is that a cocktail table should be about 1/2 to 1/3 the length of the sofa's seat itself. So it should be approximately the same height as the sofa seat height. So you want it to be comfortable. You don't want the cocktail table to be so much lower than the seat where you're sitting, or conversely, so much higher. The use is just a little bit more awkward that way. Typically, as we kind of talked about the standard sofa, chaise, and sectional sizes, there are appropriate size pieces that go with those sofas. So for instance, an 86-inch sofa would typically require a rectangular or an oval cocktail table, and the standard size is about 48 inches by 24 inches, just to give you a little bit of a guideline. A sofa with a chaise really is best suited to a round or a square table. A sofa with a chaise that is about 110 inches would work well with a 36-inch round or square cocktail table. And then a sectional with equal sides works best with a square. And with it being equal sides, you want equal sides of seating, you want to have equal sizes of cocktail tables so everyone can more comfortably, easily reach the table for beverages and aforementioned fun activities.
So there's so many different materials that you can choose with your cocktail table. Wood is such a classic choice. It really lends itself to an endless number of styles. You've got your metal, your iron, your brass, your steel. These are also so versatile. You have so many different styles depending on how the materials are used and what they can be paired with. You've got your stones, your marble, your travertine, your quartz. They really scream luxury. They're so beautiful and durable materials. You've got your rattan and your wicker. Those are more natural textures, and they're very special. You have your glass, which I know we very much so tend to be very hesitant with glass, especially because there's so many fingerprints, and we find them to be way harder to deal with, also very prone to breakage. So we tend to lean away and say, no thank you to glass. Way less usable for day-to-day life.
Absolutely. And who
I would
wants
also
fingerprints?
Say nose prints from dogs too.
Oh God,
Along
yes.
with fingerprints.
Absolutely. Nose prints, fingerprints, spillage, condensation.
Yeah.
So we take a pass on glass.
Yeah.
So when you have a cocktail table, what you really also could use in your space, if you have the room, is an end table. And we really see an end table as a piece that literally sits at the end of a sofa and or your chair. We like to see a piece that is about anywhere between like 18 inches to 26 inches wide, depending on how much room you have. And we love that size has enough surface space for both function and display. And again, the materials, they really are the same as the cocktail table, what the options are, but our preference is always that these pieces do not match. We prefer to utilize complementary materials. Overall, we really are not fans of matching sets. While there are so many beautiful material options, we kind of always feel like, why should you just pick one?
Totally agree. So if you have the room for an end table, you really should try and use a lamp for a table lamp on that end table. You know, lighting is so key in a space, and we always feel that you cannot have enough lighting. So if you don't have room for an end table, a floor lamp is also always a really great option. Lamps tend to serve such a variety of purposes. They focus on, you know, helping you read or just general working in your space. Ambient lighting, they provide general lighting to a space. There's accent lighting, decorative lighting that can really highlight an object or create ambiance. Lamps come in all different shapes and sizes. There are styles that you choose that should complement the tone of the room. We hate matching sets, so your table lamp and your floor lamp should complement one another, not match one another.
Oh, completely, 1,000%. Although don't misunderstand. We're good if you have two end tables that the two table lamps on those matching end tables match, but we really just hate to see the end table and the floor lamp match. It's just so much more interesting and feels so much more collected and organic if you choose complementary materials.
Such a good point.
Thank you very much. Okay, media cabinets. We are TV junkies. I'm trying to even count how many TVs we have in our house. On our first floor, we have, don't do it, don't do it. On our first floor, we have 3 TVs alone. So a media cabinet really is very important. Even if you are to mount the TV on your wall, you really do need some sort of cabinet for organization and storage. It's a great way to keep life's little necessities organized and minimize clutter. If you do need more storage than a media cabinet can supply, then we typically, a lot of times, we will recommend a dresser or a sideboard to put your TV on, or just to have sitting below your television set. Again, materials are going to draw inspiration from the other wood tones in your room. And again, as always, we like to complement rather than match.
Artwork is also very important in a space. It's really personal. A large piece of artwork or a gallery wall can help create such a focal point. For a pleasing display, frames do not need to match, but they also should be in similar color palette. Once again, going off of complements versus matching. I think that's a really great theme here. Things don't need to always be matchy-matchy, but really complementing one another throughout a space.
I always feel like, too, that things that feel collected feel more personal and more curated than just going to the store and buying everything that matches.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Right out. Pillows. We love a good throw pillow. They're a great way to add color, texture, and pattern, and some terrific personality to a room. And there really is a big difference between an inexpensive pillow and a quality pillow. And we would certainly advise to invest in the best pillows you can afford. They will last longer and look nicer. We feel like for a sofa, pillows that are like 20 by 20 or 22 by 22 are really a nice, gracious size. If you can, a down-filled pillow is, it's luxury. It's very nice. It's a relatively inexpensive way to add that enhanced element in your room. You can certainly mix patterns, but be really mindful of scale. You don't want to have like too large scale or too solids. That's kind of boring, but doing a really nice combination of a solid, and that can be any sort of material. It can be leather, it can be cozy and comfy, and then doing something that has a small pattern and then another pillow that has a large pattern. It creates a more interesting look. And we always try to draw color inspiration for our throw pillows from our furniture upholstery, our area rugs, and our artwork.
I would also say with pillows, if you can karate chop the pillow and it leaves the indent in the top where it has that crease and it stays, that helps tell that it is a nicer pillow. The ones that do not do that, if you're at like a Home Goods or a TJ Maxx or something, that is a cheaper pillow and it's probably not worth the money you're paying for it. I've seen that all over TikTok.
Oh, you said on TikTok. Well, if it's on TikTok, it must be true. But that's a very good point. Give it a try while you're out. And if you're looking at a TJ Maxx or a Home Goods, there's so many pillows that are so inexpensive. So like in the probably $20, $25 range when I'm cruising around to Home Goods, I do find that if you're looking at a pillow that's $40 or more, that probably is a better quality pillow, just for a frame of reference for price points.
I would also say at like a TJ Maxx or a Home Goods, if they have a zipper on them versus like a non-zipped pillow, I always
That's
think
a good
that's and in that $40 price range, and I can karate chop it, we're on a good track.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good day if you find a good pillow like that. It is. So you want to jump in on console tables, or do you want me?
I'm happy to do so. So if you have room behind your sofa, a console table is a great way to add another layer to your space and for some more storage, because everyone can use more storage. It can house decorative items, lighting, or knickknacks. Console tables can also be used in nooks or crannies and anywhere you can have open space that is not competing with another furniture piece. The materials that can be used with your console tables are very similar to a lot of the other materials that we've already discussed here. So draw inspiration from everything else in this living room that we've already talked about. But once again, complementing, not matching. So if you've already used other wood tones in your room, always, once again, complement, don't match.
Love it. Love it. And another thing, not everyone has room for this, but if you do, it's another terrific piece to add personality and function in your space. And we're talking about bookcases and display cabinets. Not only is it a fun and interesting looking piece, but it can be really very functional storage. And I love that it takes advantage of vertical space. So when you have a little bit of space to fill in, a bookcase or a beautiful display cabinet with doors are always very nice. I hate to feel like we're just saying the same thing over and over and over again, but again, drawing inspiration from the other wood tones in your room, complementing rather than matching. So a very nice combination of, if you're doing a light wood and maybe a marble or a travertine and iron, all those pieces together will come together to tell a beautiful story.
Some upholstery notes: firmer, leather and velvet; cozy, chenille and corduroy; soft would be linen. Is a delicate fabric which gets softer over time.
Absolutely. Now it just kind of depends on what look that what you're going for and your climate. You probably won't do a velvet if you're living someplace really warm like Florida, and you probably won't do a ton of rattan if you are living someplace where it's freezing cold. So matching some of these materials to your climate makes a lot of sense too.
Thank you guys so much for spending time with us today.
Please subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode.
Let us know if you have any questions or design dilemmas. We're always happy to help.
And don't forget to create spaces that are fittingly you and fittingly fabulous.
Stay warm and stay safe.